Hello folks, I'm Mark, and welcome back to the channel where it is all about racing. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at this 143 scale Spark model, that of McLaren MP4-26, raced in the 2011 Formula One season with Lewis Hamilton. Now the car's chassis was a carbon fiber honeycomb composite with both front and side impact structures and an integral safety fuel cell. The car was noted for its L-shaped side pod arrangement, that which you can see here, of which aim was to clean up and better direct the airflow to the beam wing at the rear of the car. This solution also gives McLaren the possibility of running a Renault R31 style forward exhaust exits, which you can see down here on the floorboard. You can't really see the exhaust from the rear of the car. That's a very unique aspect of this car, I think. Now the engine was a Mercedes-Benz FO 108Y 2.4 liter 146 cubic inch naturally aspirated V8 with an 18,000 RPM limiter. Wow. Its transmission was McLaren Apply's 7-speed sequential seamless semi-automatic paddle shift with an epicyclic differential and multi-plate limited slip clutch, and that is a mouthful. It's also equipped with Iwasa lead acid battery. Now the tires, as you can clearly see, are Pirelli P0s, mounted on 13-inch ankle wheels, both front and rear. Obviously substantially wider rears at the rear than the front of the car, although the exact same size. Now, the cars are driven by both Lewis Hamilton, that's this model, the number 3 car, and Jenson Button. The cars won 6 races, 1 pole, and 18 podiums out of the 19-race season. The sponsor, obviously, was Vodafone, which you can clearly see all over the car in this bright orange, as well as Johnny Walker Liquors, which I had to apply those decals both on the rear wing and the front mirrors, I guess, due to regulations. Anyhow, another YouTube reviewer, Mark Porthouse, you can find at Mark Porthouse, did a review of the Jenson Button 2012 MP2-27. A very good review. Check that out if you would like to see that car as well. Now, as I mentioned, this is a 143 scale Spark model. I believe it to be a combination of both resin and metal. It's mounted on a black wooden base. Comes in this, I guess you could call it a silver colored slipcase, which matches the livery of the car, clearly with Vodafone McLaren on the rear. It is a slipcase. The car easily slips in and out of it. And on the back, it has Spark, Vodafone, McLaren, Mercedes. And I'll flip it around and show the rear. It has the typical licensing information and barcodes. Now, also included with these cars, and this is actually in the back of the slipcase, are these little cardboard pieces, which I have found convenient for getting autographs if you're able to do so. And I'm going to try to do this next time we see, well, probably with this one I will not be able to get it, as this is Lewis Hamilton. But I know Jenson Button competes in the IMSA series, and I've met him on several occasions. So maybe if I can get a Jenson Button model, I'll get that one autographed by him. Anyhow, let's get down to this car itself. Now, this is an absolutely beautiful model. I love the silver livery with the bright orange. I mean, it feels like it glows. Spark does its usual fantastic job on this. Detail perfect in almost every regard, even though there are some problems with the finish I'll point out in just a moment, and you may have noticed them already. If you take a look at the front of the car, it's got this very unique front wing, and I don't even know how to describe this, but it's absolutely unique and very different in just about every detail. It's just really odd by today's standards, and I don't go back far enough to remember this car, even though I have watched it on YouTube. The nose, of course, has the pitot tube and a small aerial there right in front of the Vodafone logo. The suspension is absolutely well done, as is typical with Spark cars, and may I mention, also very, very fragile. These things sometimes do arrive shipping damage, as I have with many cars. This was not one of those, thank God. However, there was one problem with this, and it is in regard to the silver finish, and you can see some breakup of it right there in front of the side pod. Also notice the dainty, it's just the little things that Spark does, like this silver tie rod there in between the side pods. The barge board is not particularly unique in any regard, but it does have that unique exhaust I had mentioned earlier, the Renault R31, which you can see here. You will not see that from the back of the car as you typically see with cars of this era. The rear wing, absolutely unique and very, very different in almost every regard. Now, the Johnny Walker decals you see on here, I had to apply by myself because they came separate from the car, I guess for licensing reasons or because it's an alcohol. I suspect that probably has something to do with it. Today's fragile, loss-sensitive licensing that you get. The rear of the car is very, very unique. As I mentioned, you can't really see the exhausts, but the rear wing is just so strange in every regard, which I think makes these cars really unique looking. As you take it around, again, you're going to see more breakup and damage on the rear wing here. Again, this, I think, is the finish, just deteriorating on it. And this is metal. I think the rest of the car is resin, but the rear wing is not plastic. It is definitely metal. I mean, you can beat this thing to shreds. It'll hold up. See Lewis Hamilton's name on the side. Mobile Mercedes-Benz. All the other stuff you'd expect. Now notice on this side, there was no breakup of the finish like you had on the other side and on the rear wing. If you take a close look at the cabin, you can see Lewis Hamilton there. The splendid yellow helmet, which I think looks really cool with this. His white and orange suit are very cool. If you take a look close inside, you can see the nicely detailed steering wheel there. And they did a really nice job. Notice that his gloves and hands, sometimes you see on other cars, it looks like they're all molded into the same piece. These clearly were not. And there was no paint that got on the wheel or whatever. I mean, it just looks really, really good as you would expect from Spark. Spark is a very detail-oriented company. It's one thing I like about their cars. Even a car of this age, and this is a fairly old car, I think Spark did a really nice job. If you feel differently, let me know. Or if you've had similar experiences, let me know as well. Well, folks, that wraps up this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do for more Formula One cars and other sports cars. Thanks for watching. See ya.